What is up, and welcome in to the Easy Smoke and the GM podcast. I'm your host, Ezra McCann, and I'm joined, as always, by my outstanding co-host. He's a Chicago Public League legend. He's a Simeon legend. He's a Grambling State Tiger legend. He played second base for them back in the day. He was all swag. It's Brandon Williams, a.k.a. Coach Smoke. And we've got our NFL draft analyst. You know, he works for NBC Sports Chicago. You can catch all his work at NBC Sports Chicago, everywhere. Yeah. He's been on just about every podcast you can think of, man. He's so popular right now. He is Glenn Morgan. Gentlemen, what's going on? It's been a while. Glad to see you guys, man. Miss you guys' faces, man. What's going on?
Been a while, man. Been a while, but we here.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
That's right.
We here.
Summertime, you know, it's a lot of vacation, a lot of family time together.
Absolutely.
That's our story, and we're sticking to it.
That's right. It's a lot of stuff to talk about here. This is as we record, we're in the middle of the second round of the NBA draft. Our team, unfortunately, does not have a draft pick this year, talking about the Bulls.
So disappointed.
And that ends our podcast. Thank you for listening.
Yes. No, we'll get to them later on. But in this draft, obviously the number one pick, when we've known this for the last couple of years, was Victor Wembanyama. He goes to San Antonio. Brandon Miller from Alabama went second to Charlotte. Scoot Henderson, who I think is probably the best name we've had in a while here. He goes third to Portland. Ahmed and Ausar Thompson, the Thompson twins. That's how I know them. They go to Houston and Detroit. Respectively. And then there's the rest of the draft.
Exactly. But Orlando, which had our pick. I don't know
who most of these guys.
Orlando,
go ahead. Yeah,
I was gonna say Orlando, which had our pick, took Jet Howard.
Which, by the way, I did not know that he's Juwan Howard's son. And he played for Michigan. Who knew?
Yeah, I didn't know either.
You learned so much tonight on draft night. Wish I would have known that. But Wembanyama, I think that's the big story here. They're saying this kid, 7'5", is going to be a generational talent. Do you see that in him?
No.
Not
at all. I'll say it. We've seen this move before, you know. So the caveat of if he stays healthy, maybe, 7'5" with that slim frame. We know the history there, So for me, that's why I'm not so excited about Wemby as everyone else, because he's gonna have to prove it to me he can survive with that stature. And if he survives, then we'll see. I do like the talent, but the stature gives me major concern.
Yes. Everything you said times exponentially so, because I look and I'm like, man, I just see a crossover that he's going to try and do, and the leg's going to go one way and the body's going to go a different way. I have bad visions of Ralph Sampson, Sam Bowie, and he's not as thick as Sam Bowie was. Sam Bowie was a thick dude, comparatively. I look at, he's not, he's more, his agility and his how can I say it? He's more coordinated to me than Manute Bol was. But he's about as skinny as Manute was. Even Porzingis is a little thicker than him.
No, not as skinny as Manute.
Maybe not when Manute first got there, but towards Manute's end, Williamson's not very big, dude. He's not.
He's thin.
He's thin, bro. Like his court, like I'll see him play, and I'm like, I see the heart of his athleticism. I see him playing with heart. I see him playing with like I'm going to do these things to you. And there are times where, he plays with a certain intensity. I won't say physicality, but a certain intensity that resembles, or at least should be palatable to this NBA, this iteration of the NBA nowadays. And there's not a lot of interior physical play like it used to be. It's a lot of perimeter play and guys going to the back. So I think he can survive to some degree because he won't have. I don't think his body is necessarily going to get abused by other players. There's not a lot of that kind of physicality in NBA nowadays. I see him having non-contact injuries. Where it's a ligament here or a knee issue here. Say it again.
Similar to Chet.
Yeah.
Longer.
Yeah. I forgot about him. Right. And it's just like we'll see. I mean, the only thing that makes me feel I shouldn't say hopeful, but the only thing that makes me think, well, maybe, is because he's been playing for some time now against grown men. And I haven't heard any stories of like prolonged injury hiatus type kind of thing. So I'm thinking just maybe, and the NBA is not the NBA of the 90s or early 2000s in some ways, so possibly. But I saw him when he was playing against Scoot Henderson, and Scoot basically did a layup against him. I'm thinking like, really? It's Scoot.
Now he also got him pretty good with a block too.
Yeah, and that's going to happen, and it should happen. It's just I'm like in Scoot, the name would imply he's super fast, but to me, I'm like Scoot moves around, but he's not like super quick kind of dude. He's just
no.
Well, I'm talking when I say super quick, I'm talking like Derrick Rose. Quick.
I think he has that. I think he has a Derrick Rose first step.
I think he's got a burst, and I think he has a nice physical burst, but I don't see him. To me, he reminds me a little bit of the dude who's in Minnesota,
Anthony Edwards.
Anthony Edwards. In terms of how he goes to the cup, the physical. I'm not saying he's slow. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say he doesn't have any quickness. I'm just saying, to me, he's not like when I hear the name Scoot, I think Allen Iverson. I think that kind of speed. I think that kind of quickness. I don't think Scoop has it. Just his size alone, almost kind of. I don't even think he's as quick as. I don't even think he's as quick as LaMelo. I think LaMelo's quicker than Scoop.
I find it interesting. Go on. Finish your point. I'm sorry.
No, all that to say that, if someone, the quickness of the level, there's going to be an uptick in level of athleticism and quickness and what have you when he gets to the NBA. Because playing in France, and they're grown, but that's one kind. But now it's like, dude, you're facing some of the best of the best of the best, and I can see people taking it to him a lot. And I don't know. Is he going to be somebody like what is he going to be someone that's unstoppable offensively, or is he going to be someone that makes you change your game defensively, or is he somewhere in between? I mean, I don't know how. Look, you have something to work with. He's 7'5". He has a lot of skills, so that's a lot to work with. Just right now, I have a hard time kind of seeing like, where do I employ this guy to where we leverage his skill set against the rest of the NBA to where he's going to be that guy. Like when David Robinson came out, you can kind of see like, okay, this dude's going to be able to do this, and this. When you look at someone like LaMelo coming out, I know they're different heights and different positions, but you're like, okay, this is what's like. When I look at Wembanyama, I'm like, okay, so you're not a post player. Are you really someone that I want taking people off the dribble all the time? Are you more Porzingis? Are you better? I don't know where to leverage him. Is he your power forward? Is he your stretch five? Is he a really tall 7'5" small forward?
The ultimate positionless basketball player.
And which makes me go, where do I use you? Because are you bringing the ball up the court? Are we running the offense through you? how does everyone else play off of you? As potentially limitless as his skill set seems to make you imagine he can be, I have a hard time imagining how I can employ him. But I'm not a coach and I'm not an NBA guy, and that's going to be their job and their task. And how does everyone else work around you? He's going to present I think he's going to present problems to his own squad before he presents them to the NBA. I guess that's what I'm kind of saying. I don't know what to do with him.
I worry that, coming into the NBA where the best of the best are playing, they're going to get physical with him, because there's been times where he's been dealt with in the EuroLeague, but he gets physical and he may lose some confidence. I hope he doesn't. That doesn't happen to him. But skill wise, I mean, the dude can play, man, and maybe you don't right off the bat let him, be your top offensive weapon. Maybe you let him settle into the game, because defensively, I mean, he's a shot blocker, man, and yeah, you can't deny that. So I think it's about these first couple of seasons, just him gaining confidence in his game, and I think after that he can flourish. But it's
flourish offensively.
Absolutely.
He's just
the dude can shoot from long range. He can handle the ball. I mean, sure, he doesn't show it, but if you need him to get in the post, Pop's gonna be able to teach him that, and Tim Duncan is gonna be working with him as well. Sky's the limit for him, man, in my opinion.
So let me ask you guys this: does his ceiling begin or hover around Nowitzki, or is it more where Porzingis is?
Might be better.
I say
might be higher. The ceiling is the roof of this guy, man.
The ceiling is the roof.
It's the roof. As good as Dirk was, man, he can be better, because Dirk wasn't a defensive presence, right?
Not at all.
Not at all. This dude can play some D, man.
He can be the offensive player Dirk was.
That's what I'm saying.
The skill set he has says that yes, he can.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't like you said. I don't know how it translates into the NBA.
That's my thing.
We're gonna see, but if you just base it just as a projection off the skill that he's shown,
I mean, Amari Bailey just got drafted.
The game he played against the G League Elite, or not, with Ignite. I get overtime elite and Ignite mixed up. The game he played against Ignite against Scoot Henderson, he put up 37 points against those guys, man, and those are grown men, So
they're not all that good.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying he's going to average. Yeah, clearly he's not going to average 37 a night. No, but I think he's going to show something. We're going to see. Wait. We're going to see. We'll see in a couple of weeks at Summer League.
Summer League.
Yeah.
Do you let him play Summer League?
He said he's going to play.
He said he's playing. Yeah. Why not?
I know, because I see him as fragile. I got a hard time.
I don't think he's had a injury history.
No,
that you shut him down. I mean, you brought up Sam Bowie. Sam Bowie had leg issues dating back to college.
True.
He was fragile coming in. I don't think Victor Wembanyama has that injury history there. So no. I'm not too worried about that. But if you look at, you go in the history of guys that size.
Because Chet ain't had that injury history. And then it was a weak ass. It was at that little open run that they was at with LeBron, DeRozan, and all them were at.
Yeah, and that's where he got, and
it was literally just
No,
somebody clipped him at the knee, and
he's not Chet Frail either.
Man, I don't know, man.
I don't know.
Man,
I don't know, man.
Chet is all bones, man. I mean, when Wemby got a little something on him. Not much, I granted, but he's not Chet small.
Don't forget, man. TV puts 20 pounds on you. I'm just tripping.
Man, but I mean, you look at, I mean, and I know he doesn't play, but I mean, Rick Smith was 7'4". He had a very long career. Mark Eaton had a long career at 7'4".
Those are thick guys you're talking about too, though.
Yeah. Well, Rick Smith wasn't really thick,
and
compared to this guy, yeah.
Well, compared to this guy, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, they're obese compared to him.
Wait, let me see. Rick Smith he played at 250.
Yeah,
and these guys were role players.
Yeah, but then I look at
they're calling this guy the greatest prospect since LeBron.
See, that's
like
I think that's unfair.
Like,
that's really unfair.
Let me ask you.
Go on.
I know I was going to say, let me ask you all this. So, and I'm not saying year one. I'm not even saying year two. I'm saying year three going forward, probably. What would make you feel? What kind of stat line are we looking at to feel good about what this young man potentially should be offering, considering his size and his supposed, skill set that sets him apart from anybody else at his size? So are we looking at, 27, 12, 6 assists?
We're looking at this at his
3
peak,
blocks
at his peak, or right away.
No, not right away. I'm saying
by year 3.
I'm saying by year 3, 4 going forward. Because nowadays, you don't wait
20. I want 2010 and 4 blocks a night.
So, okay, what I'm saying is you're the number one pick in the draft, and you're supposed to be this, generational talent. What makes me feel like you are this generation? Because 2010 to me, that's
2010 at 22 is not good.
Vucevic can almost give you 2010.
The defense.
I'm saying you said a year 3 though.
Yeah,
but the defensive prowess has to be the catalyst.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm asking what's gonna make him generational? Because to me, generational, and let's take your point and say, okay, when he's at his apex, say it's year 6 or 7 or whatever. NBA guys seem to, let's say Michael Jordan, he won his first championship year 7 or whatever. Let's say it's 6, 7. He's grown into his man body. Because how old is Wembo? Like 21?
Right
20,
now
21?
he's 19.
19. Okay, so let's say he's 25. All right, so that's a good 6.5 years, give or take. Okay, so he's 25, and 25 to 32 is going to be his, his that arc, his professional athletic arc or whatever. So, and he's supposed to be this generational talent. What are you like, Tim Duncan? What was Tim Duncan giving you when he was at his maturation as a basketball player? Was he giving you like 25, 12, and 4 assists and a block and a half?
Tim won an MVP where he barely was over 20.
At 20, we said at 26.
Yeah, like 25, 26. Yeah.
At 26, Tim was averaging 23 points, 13 rebounds, and 3 blocks.
Okay. So if he's not at least doing that, then I feel like I got sold a bill of goods. Because he's supposed to be generational. I'm not saying, he's supposed to be that dude, like who sets the NBA, like he is. Well, is changing things.
That's why it's unfair. That's why it's unfair to him, though.
But is it? Because you're 7'5" doing this stuff, and you're not supposed to be doing it. So are you telling me he's already a victim of his own skill set?
Are you saying he should be exceeding Tim Duncan's numbers?
I'm saying he should be, especially since Tim's working with him. Yes, I'm. Here's the thing.
So you're basically saying that by year 6 he should be the greatest.
What's Giannis doing?
Front court player of all time.
What's Giannis doing? Because Giannis is a 7-footer, right? 6'11", 7 foot.
Yeah, he ain't 7'5" though.
I understand that, but you're right. 7'5" means I expect you to be doing more because you're 7'5".
I'm saying he's gonna be the first
Giannis,
7'5" player that's doing something like this.
Whatever, man. What is Giannis doing?
The rest of them was strictly post players.
What is Giannis? That's why I'm asking about
space in the paint.
That's why I'm asking about Giannis, because Giannis is not a post player. Giannis is a face-up player. What is Giannis doing?
I mean, you're right, but Giannis is a freak athletically. So I'm not disputing what you're saying. Like,
ain't this dude a freak?
Can he become as gifted athletic?
Giannis is gonna be 29. I didn't realize that.
That's what I'm saying. So Giannis wasn't highly touted. Giannis was
at 26. We said 26 was the number, right?
Either 26 or, because I don't know when you come into the league. I'm saying at least 6
years. Well, actually, he's going to be the
league.
same because Giannis came in at 19.
Okay,
so that's a perfect comp here. At 26, Giannis was averaging 28 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists,
and how many blocks?
1.2.
Okay,
and 1.2 steals.
Okay, so if this dude who's supposed to be generational, I'm not saying he has to be the next LeBron or whatever, but he's supposed to be generational. And, you get one of those every 5 to 7 years at whatever position or positionless basketball player you are purported to be. If you're this dude, everyone's talking about you, been talking about you for the last couple of years, you're 7'5", you can do things that nobody's ever seen somebody at 7'5", whatever, do. Okay. He needs to be damn near 30 points, somewhere between 27 and 27 plus points, double-digit rebounds. So we're talking at least 11 plus.
He has to be double-digit rebound.
He has to be.
That's
That's 7'5".
That's a mandatory.
You should probably average 20 boards a game.
I'm saying 11 plus. I'm really looking at I'm really looking at here. Let me ask myself the same question I asked you, Glenn. What do you expect him to be if he's just trying to, for you to feel like you didn't get sold a bill of goods and overhyped dude, blah blah blah. I would expect him. I would need for him to be averaging 28 points, 29 points, 28.5, 13 plus rebounds, because of his skill set. 6.5 assists or more, with about 2.2 blocks a game, and I can take 0.9, steals or whatever.
So I ask you this. Okay. He does all that, but they don't win. But let's say he averages 23, 12, 3 blocks, and they winning, and he changed the landscape of that franchise.
I was just about to ask that.
Because that's what Tim Duncan did.
Yeah,
Tim Duncan numbers wasn't astronomical.
They were winning,
but you felt the presence of Tim Duncan. You get what I'm saying? So what if that's the case? You get what I'm saying? I get what you're saying, but I don't want to get caught up in just the numbers if the winning comes and the numbers aren't as productive. You get what I'm saying? So I don't want to limit it just to the numbers. I feel you though. I kind of have that same expectation, but I'm like, when you really look at Tim Duncan numbers throughout his career, and I think Tim Duncan is the greatest power forward of all time. I do. I'm a huge Tim Duncan fan. But when you look at his numbers, they don't necessarily wow you. But when you watch the games, you saw the impact. So it's like, what about something of that nature?
I hear what you're saying, and it is such a conundrum, because basketball, probably out of all professional team sports, maybe soccer might be a close one in some ways. I say that because in soccer, sometimes you play defense and offense, with your position. Not always, but sometimes hockey does a little bit too. And maybe hockey might be a good comparison too. But basketball, more than any of those sports, because of the amount of scoring that an individual can generate and how much that can carry a team, the individualized aspect of a team sport is so difficult to judge someone's success by, because you can be a Barkley, Karl Malone, and all these other guys, Patrick Ewing, and never win a championship. But it shouldn't diminish your greatness. But when you start reaching the stratosphere because of either your talents and those others who have attained certain success, you start to get judged a little bit differently, so to speak.
True.
So, i.e., Jokic this past year, it was like
before him,
and Giannis before him. But with Jokic, it's like, all right, you got 2 MVPs.
That was Giannis. Giannis was back to back with a defensive player of the year.
Right. So what can you do? But you're asking a person, and again, both ironically, all 3 of these guys are small market teams. Can you carry this team to a final? And then once you do that, can you do it again and again and again? So to answer your question, I think although they're different players, because Tim was a post player. Yeah. And with
game was different too.
Right. And with Victor, you're asking him like, no, we need you to be more creative because you have this skill set. Tim didn't have that kind of creativity. Passing,
well,
sure.
We got to see what Pop wants to do with him first.
Well, which is really a really interesting dynamic. And, I like Pop. I don't know if the game has passed him by, and I'm being a bit of an ageist as I say that. I.e., are you set in your ways? How fluid is your thought process when it comes to someone who has a dynamism that we haven't seen before at this level? We've seen it a little bit. We've seen it a little bit with Porzingis. We've seen it a little bit with Giannis. Giannis is more of a physicality, in a lot of respects. And Giannis' game has continued to improve. Giannis is nowhere near as skilled as I think this young man is in terms of
not even close.
Yeah, in terms of what he can do with the ball. Giannis is kind of a bull in the china shop. This guy's more finesse. So I think to answer your question, he can do those things where it's like maybe the points aren't the major aspect of his contributions, and I still need that double-digit rebounds. But I think for him to answer that question, for him to be effective, he needs to be getting me close to eight assists a game. He needs to be like almost like Jokic, but with a flair. Like the passes you're giving are the kind of passes. It's like, dude, like he's dropping them off here, and because of his height, he can see and get it to you differently than anybody else ever has. And and that's a maturation to his game that he would have to evolve to. You're not going to come in doing that necessarily. I don't expect him to come in doing that. Like I don't expect him to be LaMelo, with the basketball, or even LeBron with the passes. But you need to have that at some point, that type of effectiveness, like Olajuwon. Where Olajuwon to me is still one of my, like you were talking about Tim Duncan. For me, Olajuwon is like my favorite center of all time. I'm not saying he is the best or the quintessential center across the board, but for me, he is, because he was a really good blend of power, speed, finesse, force, deftness, agility, skill, all those things. And I know other people have, but he's one of the very few to get a quadruple double. I'd like to see Wembanyama. You want to impress me? Give me a quadruple double, because your skill and your height says you should be able to do that. Like you should be able to get.
Asking a lot of the kid.
I understand that, but like I said,
asking a lot, man.
But
quadruple double.
But you ask a lot for people who are especially gifted and differently gifted.
Well, he didn't ask for that.
Well, he didn't shrink from it either, and that's a good thing for him. If he's going to approach it, that's fine. The best of the best don't shrink from it. They embrace it and take it. Look, for all the things that people may have and they say against LeBron and all the LeBron haters that are out there,
lived up to every bit
and exceeded it.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, I mean, and again, no, I don't know if LeBron ever posted a quadruple double, but what I'm saying is, LeBron did things that we hadn't seen anybody at his size do with that kind of athleticism. We've seen Magic do stuff, but not like LeBron was doing it. LeBron, it was like, like maybe Magic.
Magic didn't have the explosiveness that LeBron.
But when you say that, now it makes me lean a lot towards what you're of your stand because LeBron was so highly touted and he came in doing things like Glenn say we haven't seen with that size and athleticism able to do. The way they're speaking of Wemby, we shouldn't be able to have seen a guy with his size do what he may do in the NBA. So I get it. I see it now with Glenn. I see it, and I'm kind of leaning that way. By the end of Wemby's career, it should be like we would have never thought we would see that from a player of his size and his stature, and that's where I see Glenn going. It shouldn't be he was just a regular player. Like, no, it should be 7'5". Look what we were seeing from this dude at 7'5", 115 pounds. You know?
Man, boy, y'all hard on these kids. This kid gonna average 20 and 10. You're gonna be like, he's a bust.
No, I wouldn't say he's a bust, but
he would. That's what you guys are saying.
But to Glenn's point, he would be generational.
He would be generational.
An underachiever is a bust.
No, he wouldn't be generational.
No, I give you that. I give you that.
That's what Glenn is speaking on. He's not. He just saying generational mean you got to be doing some things we ain't seen before.
Yeah, and doing it consistently.
I agree.
Hey, the NBA leading up into the draft, some big moves were made in the last few days here. I guess the big one
today.
We should probably start with today. Yeah, Chris Paul. Well, first he was traded from Phoenix to Washington.
Treating him like the rag dog.
Bradley Beal. And then the word was he was going to get released. And I know, Smoke, that's your boy. Word was he going to get released? Well, no, not so fast. He now gets traded to is it official yet?
Yeah, I mean, I think so.
It should be, yeah. He's going to Golden State for Jordan Poole, draft picks, and some cash considerations. I don't know if that makes that much sense.
I
get what Washington's doing. Washington is just trying to clear cap and money and get picks. I get that. I don't see how Chris Paul fits with Golden State.
So I have that same concern unless he's coming off the bench. But where I say I think it worked for Golden State is they had to get off Poole. They had to.
Yeah.
I mean,
just because of what happened.
Just the situation. They had to get off Poole. And they have to get Draymond back. They have to bring Draymond back. So you had to clear that big contract to pay Draymond. And Chris Paul is an expiring deal. This is the last year of his contract. You eat that. You eat that and see what you could possibly get from him. You know, if he's willing to come off the bench, you know, a lot of people seem to think that he'll start. I don't like that aspect because he needs the ball in his hand to create, and that's not Golden State's way of offense.
And now he's coming off.
They run. You know, and Draymond is kind of that guy getting the ball off the rebound, pushing the pace. You know, I don't see Draymond getting a rebound, stopping and looking for Chris Paul to bring the ball up. Now, running the second unit, I think that could be really, like, so many people are looking at it like, man, that's going to be scary. Chris Paul on the floor with Steph. I'm like, no, that's not, because that don't fit the offensive style that they play. But if Chris Paul buy in, and y'all know I am not a fan of Chris Paul at all, but if he buy in to come off the bench and run that second unit, that's where it can be really scary for the NBA, to me.
Yeah, if he runs a second unit like that time he spent in OKC,
Mm-hmm.
I can see that being beneficial for uh, Golden State, especially in the playoffs, where half court becomes a bit more the norm than it's not, and a lot of times your second unit, i.e., Phoenix this year, second unit was garbage, and they had no. Everyone knew, like, dude, they got no bench. You got to have a respectable bench when you're talking about trying to win a championship. And that, like you said as well, coming off the bench, there's less stress on Chris. Maybe he can actually last through a playoff.
Stay healthy,
Stay
cut
healthy.
his minutes down.
Yeah, throughout the season, and so you're getting a healthier guy who can give you 17 minutes in the playoffs. Maybe 20. When it gets down to it. But that's fine because it's not starters minutes. Second unit wise, with him giving maybe about 17, 20 minutes during the playoff stretch, it's okay because it's still that backup minutes. It's not, you're not expecting a lot from him. And then there could be times, in certain portions of the game where his experience, comes through and you have a 3-guard offense. Maybe you're doing some small ball and, you trying to change it up. You're doing a change ball kind of thing. You're not going to, you got another ball handle out there, so it's hard to double team Steph or whatever the case might be, but you're not asking a lot, so he can be there. That being said, it still doesn't set my hair on fire. I don't have any hair in my head, but it still doesn't. It still doesn't make me go like, oh, watch. I mean, if this is 10 years ago, 7 years ago, maybe, but right now I'm like, yeah, okay, sure, if that works for you. Yeah, I to me that other moves, with Bradley Beal coming to Phoenix.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's talk about the original deal. Does
ahead.
that put Phoenix over the hump here in the West?
Still got a bench issue, but I think we saw that during the playoffs when Jesus, name's escaping me, the superstar guard. Booker. Yeah, thank you. When Booker, because Chris got hurt again. When Booker actually went to having made a point guard or whatever, they actually moved and the Phoenix's offense seemed less stagnant, and it picked up its pace and all that stuff, and it seemed to work, especially with Durant being there. Now you get Bradley Beal, it's like, ooh man, that's gonna be hard to deal with, but we've also seen when you've got 3 super talented, mega skilled offensive players, somebody's game suffers. Somebody's got to sacrifice something. So I don't know. And they still have a defensive issue they need to contend with as well. And I still question what's their bench going to look like. So it's nice. It looks good. It looks interesting. But until they flesh out the rest of that team, I'm in a holding pattern when it comes to Phoenix.
Yeah, I agree because I'm like, yeah, okay, you got Bradley Beal, that's special, but you didn't address. But honestly, scoring from your starting 5 wasn't an issue.
What's the problem, right?
So you just got another scorer that's going to definitely be a starter. You still ain't addressed the problem.
There's only one basketball.
There's only one, and you still ain't addressed the problem, which means one of them 3 is still going to have to play excessive minutes to keep one of them on the floor, and all 3 of them has KD and Beal for sure, but Booker as of late been having injuries that has been a concern, so I guess we'll see how they make out the rest of this roster. But yeah, it's fun, at surface level. Them 3, let's see what happens. But they still got work to do over there in Phoenix.
And it's new head coach. So we gotta see how that's gonna work out too. Mm-hmm. I said usually when it's 3, we've seen someone's game suffer. I think Golden State was probably the one team when KD was there. And I guess Clay wasn't scoring as much, and I guess Steph had to step back a little bit, but somehow they were able to work
Well,
a
I thought
lot better.
they were fine because they knew they were already a championship team. They had just come off the 73 win season and didn't win, and they were like, okay, we got to win this title. Steph's like, if I got to fall back a little bit,
right? That's
KD,
what
I'm
I'm saying.
fine.
And the flow of their offense was it's the way of that offense.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Get the open shot.
And
Like
that's what, yeah. That's what Phoenix has to figure out.
yeah, that's the thing. Booker want to dance a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
KD can catch and shoot. Bill want to dance a little bit. So it's that's where it's gonna get interesting.
Porzingis got dealt yesterday. He goes from Washington to Boston. Boston also gets a first round pick in this year's draft, who actually they ended up getting. Who did they get with that 25th pick?
Somebody who we probably don't know.
Yeah, let's see.
That'd be my guess.
Marcus Sasser from Houston. I think I remember him in the tournament. Anyway, all right.
Actually, he's pretty good. All right, because my nephew's team played Houston twice this year. So yeah, he abused them.
All right. Who else did they get? Let's see. Washington gets Tyus Jones and Gallinari. And then Memphis is 3-team trade. Memphis gets Marcus Smart. I didn't realize Marcus Smart was an issue in Boston that they want to get. I don't think that was the problem there. And now you bring another big in with Porzingis. I don't understand that.
Well, what is weird to me that clearly they wanted Porzingis so bad, because remember the first trade fell apart.
Mm-hmm.
It was supposed to be Porzingis
Brogdon,
and Brogdon to the Clippers, and who was supposed to go to the Wizards? I forgot, but Brogdon was gone. Marcus Smart would have still been there, and then Brogdon, Clippers had fear of his injury, his whatever injury he has, so that the deal fell apart, and so Boston was eager to make this trade happen for Porzingis that they end up throwing in with Memphis with Marcus Smart. So I'm like this one. I'm a little confused about, honestly.
Well,
I get it if Porzingis stays healthy, and it could be something,
right?
But I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. Even with Marcus Smart and whatever he brings to, or whatever he brought to Boston, a lot of that was the grit, savvy, the accountability, the hard nosedness of a team and what have you. With all that, they still lost in Miami.
Yeah.
Without Tyler Hero and without Oladipo, and with Jimmy not being the best Jimmy.
What was that because of him, or was it because of
I'm not saying it's because of him.
stars?
I'm just no, I'm not saying it's because of him. I'm just saying that with him there, they still didn't attain that. So, and they got to the finals the year before and they lost, So I guess the way Boston may be looking at it is a couple of different ways. If Brown stays, then great. Now you've got 3 guys that can get they can create their own shot. Porzingis, as big as he is, he's still skilled and he can take people off the dribble, especially, he'll be a mismatch nightmare for a lot of people. And he can play with his back to the basket or play in the post to some degree. I think there's some stat I saw to where he was 4th overall with points from the post or something like that. And you're talking about a potential, he's 7'2", Porzingis, or 7'3", so is that 7'2", 7'3"?
Yeah.
And then you got a 6'9", 6'10" guy and Tatum who can handle the rock like he's a small forward / he's got ball handling skills. So if Brown leaves, now you still have two scorers, you still have a guy that can give you mismatch issues and what have you. If Brown stays, then it's going to be very difficult to collapse on any one of those three, and their games can complement one another because Porzingis doesn't, he can float in and out of the lane. He can also be perimeter. He doesn't have to necessarily be in their way. And one or two of those guys are off the floor. Porzingis can be a focal point as well to still get his points. Defensively, he gives you a way better athletic rim protector than what Horford gives you. And you're talking about a guy who also can run the floor. He plays with a certain physicality, and it gives you somebody to, I won't say he will neutralize Embiid, but he gives you someone that gives you a potential foil in some regards when it comes to Embiid's length. Not necessarily the physicality, but the length, in the length department. Because they don't really have, that's been a big problem with Boston. They've been a donut hole in the middle. Smith can't stay healthy enough. Horford is 75 years old and getting older. Porzingis gives you a little more filling in that middle. So, and Boston's been right there. So I Smart, he's a point guard, but he's not really a facilitator in that mold. And he doesn't have to be and didn't need to be because the other guys can get their own, they can create. And where Smart really was an X factor or a factor for Boston was his defensiveness. He's defensive player of the year. That's, getting out on the break and, creating havoc and being a disruptor defensively. It wasn't his offensive aspect to it. So Porzingis can give you a different kind of look defensively, but can still be a person who can, block a shot and take that ball down the court and slam it on you himself. So I can see where Boston's like, we can create a lot of mismatch. We can leverage a lot of things in our direction more so than it being dictated to us. We can dictate things more often. And we've got athletically long limb players who have a skill set that can score inside, outside. So I like it for Boston a lot more than what people realize. I think Smart is the sentimental favorite to keep because he dyed his hair green and he, and you felt like he was, very, very representative of that Boston grit. But I mean, give me 7'2" over whatever how tall he is, 6'3", 6'4", So yeah, I can see it. The more I look at it with Boston, I'm like, I can kind of see. And again, it's like we got to do something different because what we've been doing is not working or hasn't worked enough. It's sort of kind of, so what are we really losing here? What are we potentially gaining? And I think when you weigh that, and again, the caveat, as you mentioned, B, is him being healthy. And having played 65 games this past season, I think they feel better about Porzingis understanding his body and what he can do and where he is going forward.
Hey, we got some breaking news here. The Bulls traded into the second round.
Yeah,
pick number 35.
Oh, all right. Here we go.
And they pick Julian Phillips, forward from Tennessee.
Yeah, because everybody, you gotta have a ball. You gotta have a ball in your squad. The Bears know that. Now the Bulls understand that. Now we just get somebody on these baseball teams. We'll be ready. Yeah, that makes no sense.
Well, 6'8" forward, average 8 points, 4 rebounds, 1.4.
That's your move.
Is he going to play?
Yeah, right. You traded into that.
Is he going to play?
Yeah, I mean, if you're trading in, you didn't have a pick, and you trade into the second round to get somebody, you got to think he's at least going to make the roster.
You couldn't get that in free agency. You couldn't go overseas and get that. You couldn't go to the G League and get that. You had to trade into the second round to get somebody who may or may not play, who you may redshirt, who may be on 10-day contracts, who may be vacillating between whatever G League team you had. Come on, stop, man. That's your move? I'm supposed to feel good about that as a fan?
Well, they have a press conference coming up here, so they had to talk about something.
Stop. Look, man, if you want to trade into the first round, and then I might feel you were trying to do something. Trade into the first round and get a pick between, 20 and 25, and I might think like, okay, you're on to something. You found something. You know somebody. You trade into the second round, and you're telling me you're going to have a press conference about that.
Hey. Nikola Jokic was picked number 41. We've been getting that all summer with the preview to this year's draft. So hey,
yeah, did they
35?
Did they trade in to get Nikola? They traded to get Nikola. Or they're
I don't know that.
I don't think so.
I don't know. Yeah. But real talk though.
Yeah,
is there a plan?
I don't think so.
No, there is no plan.
I don't think so.
Treading water. I'm gonna say what Batman told the Justice League when they said we need to practice to get together. Batman said, "You know what? Call me when it's something important." That's how I feel right now. Don't tell me about practice. Don't tell me about some guy who's going to be the 13th guy on a 15-man, roster.
This regime started off so well. There was so much movement.
Yes.
And I feel like they turned back into guard backs.
Yes, dude, I'm with you. Exactly.
Might have been too much movement, and now, like I said before, we're in a state of purgatory.
Man,
it's no one wants the contracts we have. Who wants those? Maybe Zach. Can't get off Lonzo.
Man.
Well, you know what? I'm hoping that gets answered.
It is answered.
Fairly soon right now.
It's already answered.
I'm saying. So
did you see how he was moving, man?
It's answered.
No, I haven't seen that.
Dude,
man, Lonzo's done, man.
It's done, dude.
Done. And even if he showed signs.
So there's nothing. Wait. I understand that. Okay, he's not playing. There's no way to get out of that money.
No. I mean, what, you amnesty? Do they still even do that?
Yeah, you still got the same problem. Who's your point guard?
Well, you still need a point guard.
I mean, you can't. I find it very hard to believe, as global as this sport is, within the last 2 years, you can't find a point guard anywhere in the world. Not even out of college or in this country, in the world.
It's crazy. We only got one foreigner.
Who?
That's Vooch.
But he played ball here at USC.
He played
I don't even consider him a foreigner. He's an American byproduct. He's a byproduct of American collegiate basketball.
Yeah. Like,
no, dude.
That was what we thought. AK and they were known for getting right. AK the one who drafted or
Jokic.
You got Jokic, yeah.
Dude, I remember watching. It was something. Netflix had it. The Redeem Team. It's 2008 or 2012. I can't remember which year it was.
2008.
Sorry, 2008.
Documentary.
You didn't like it?
Bad documentary.
Well, I liked it, but anyway, I'm watching it, and I can't remember what team it was. I think it was the Puerto Rico that was doing it to us, or some point guard from Puerto Rico was just like giving us.
He was in NBA,
right? He was giving us the business, right? And then I'm watching some point guard. There was a dude from Argentina that was giving us the business, and I'm like, okay, and that was what, 15 years ago. You mean to tell? We're talking how, like, from 1992 with the Dream Team to 2008, which was what you're talking, 16 years, I guess. Is my math right? Is that right? No,
that's
8.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, 16 years. How exponentially basketball globally had grown. These players are raising their game, and they're playing the NBA, and they're competing, and to the point that we had to go and get LeBron, Kobe, Dwayne, all these guys. It's 15 years, almost the same amount of time. You mean to tell me there's not one point guard between the height of 6'2" and 6'5" in the world or taller that we can't get from anywhere in the world to be a decent point guard?
They keep getting knee injuries, and the Bulls don't know how to fix them.
Stop, man. Stop. I mean, there's not one point guard.
That's what happened.
Come on, dude. In a guard-centric league, look at the draft. I think the first center wasn't taken to pick 12 or something like that. It was like almost. I think the first 10 picks went by before hilarious. for a person to consider the center was actually
That's what I was
taken.
about to say. That's hilarious because the first pick was 7'5", and you're not counting him as a center.
Not at all. Not even close. He looks like more like a small forward to me at best.
That's hilarious.
And in a guard-centric league, a guard-centric NBA, you can't find a person that can just facilitate. You ain't even got to be a great scorer. Just, I mean, tell me you can give me like 8 assists a game and average four rebounds and average like 8 to 10 points.
And yes, I love Caruso. But come on, man. We can't be the only team in the NBA with a white boy that can't shoot.
Wow.
That's bad. That's bad. You can't have that.
How is it they don't have there's no shooters out there for them?
That's the other thing. You mean to tell me in a world
we got the one white boy in the NBA that plays excessive minutes and can't shoot. That's insane.
I mean, what's that guy used to do all the voiceovers in a world where for all those movie trailer? I mean, you to tell me in a world where there's basketball players across the universe who can shoot 3-point shots, regardless of the continent that they're on. Somehow the Chicago Bulls have failed to find one of them. Come on, man. I mean, even the Michael Jordan Bulls had like 4 guys that were like 3-point specialists.
Yes.
At least 2 or 3.
One.
We don't have one. I mean, the closest is Kobe. Kobe's our closest 3-point threat that you would say he is a legitimate threat. And he should be like maybe your second legitimate threat in an NBA team. I mean, yeah, we have guys who can shoot the 3. I mean, but who doesn't? But I'm talking about as far as like you fear them, like, okay, like, oh, like when he gets the ball, you're like, oh shit, it's going down. Come on, man. How does that happen? We got a bunch of mid-range guys that like to dribble the ball and keep it and not pass it.
And dunkers,
which, it's nice. I like the athleticism, but come on, man. You got to spread the floor. And I don't understand it, man. And it's like, I understand this is the first year you comprise this team, like 2 years ago. Okay, it's like, I get it. Like, okay, it looked good that first half of the season. Lonzo was playing, and you're like, and you had DeRozan and Levine, and you're like, man, dude, these dudes, and Caruso, man, they're getting their hands in the lanes, and this defense is turning into offense, and man, they spreading out, like, man, they can get you off the dribble, like, man, this is looking really good, but ooh, they're gonna need a couple 3-point shooters. But we see that, but man, it's such a big change around from what we were used to, and here we are 2.5, almost 3 years later, saying like,
they made not even last year, a year later.
Nothing.
What they did, they bamboozled us. They made all the moves back to back to back to back. Like you said, got our hopes up. And then we just face planted. Like now we can't make a move. Like, and a lot of people, like, I'm going back and forth with folks because they like, man, the problem is that's because they signed back Zach. No, that's probably the smartest thing they did.
Well, they had to.
That's what I'm saying. Of all the decisions they made, that's probably the smartest one. And y'all being critical of that, like,
well, I think it goes back to, and I hate to say it because he's he has played well. The DeRozan signing didn't make sense. I think that's your issue right there.
Stand on DeRozan didn't make sense. I wouldn't say the original signing. You could have traded him last year.
Yeah.
Someone would have wanted him. He could have helped a veteran team. They chose to keep him thinking that they was about to get the same results. Like no.
It couldn't have happened. It couldn't have. And I think it slowed down the development of Zach and Vooch together. But I feel like that was going to work. you know, that inside outside that inside out game, and now you're stuck with it for right now, unless they're able to make a big move at some point this summer. Yeah, they're just stuck.
He could have helped New York. DeRozan could have helped the Knicks. Help, you know, balance out the evil that Julius Randle would do to a team where he just starts, you know, clanking them up there. But yeah, you're right. It's like, you know, you're stuck. What do you do with that now? And it's weird, dude. It's just weird to me. And now the Bulls run the danger of just falling by the wayside when you see what Cleveland has done in a short amount of time. You know, and that's another thing too. I don't get. Some of these seem like Cleveland is a whole different team than when LeBron was there. You know, you would think after LeBron left that Cleveland should be like in basketball, you know, no man's land for like the next generation. No, like about 3 years later, here they are.
But it's like you look at these organizations, they always got 1, 2, maybe 3 to 4 first round picks over like 2-3 years. It seemed like we always got one every few years. What are we doing with our picks?
And it's the 7th pick every time.
It's like, what are we doing with our picks? How can we not acquire picks?
I don't know, bro.
You got to use them correctly too. I mean, we had the 4th pick, and
I mean the
same thing.
And you take Pat.
The Celtics just got a first round pick for Marcus Smart. Like,
really? Yeah.
Like, it was a late first round pick, but it was a first round pick.
Look, man, as much, and I think I said it before on our show, as much as people didn't like him as a person or however they felt about him, Jerry Krause, time and time again, maneuvered whatever it was. And how many times did he have multiple first round picks in the top 15? How many times? Like at least 3 different times. He had like 2 picks within the top 15, or I'll say top 20 easy. You look when he took Elton Brand and Crazy Man. No,
not Elton Brand.
Meta
World Peace.
What's his real name? What was his mama's name? His birth name?
Ron Artest.
Ron Artest. And you look at Eddie and Chandler. You look even when he had Chris Mims and freaking Jamal Crawford.
Yeah, that was 2. Scotty and Horace.
Scotty and Horace. And then he had 3 with Stacy, BJ, and Jeff Sanders. He had 3 in the first top 20. I mean, come on, dude. And that's like we just covered like a 20-year span of basketball, of a Bulls basketball, and we just mentioned 4 different occasions we had multiple first round picks in the top 20. And people were giving him shit. I'm like, man, please.
I don't know if we've had multiple first round picks since Curry and Chandler.
No. We got
maybe Dang and
Gordon. Dang and Gordon were the same year.
Dang and Gordon.
Dang and Gordon were the same year.
So once in the last 20 years.
Yeah, because that had to be it.
Once in the last 20 years.
And once D Rose came and we started winning.
I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, that was the last one. Yeah.
Was Jimmy was a late first round pick, right?
First round, yeah. He
was anybody before him that year?
No.
Not that year, but we wasted.
Remember, Jimmy came.
We drafted
Jimmy
Jeff
came.
Teague.
Yeah.
But Marcus Teague.
We got Marcus Teague, the wrong Teague.
All right.
The wrong Teague. Jimmy was in a winning season. So they had a late draft pick.
Yeah. So a lot of forgettable first round picks where we couldn't make a mistake per se, or we had less of a margin for error. and we kept making mistakes. And now, look, like I say, Krause, excuse me, may have been arguably not arguably, he clearly is statistically, he's one of the better sports GMs we've had in the city.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
May not be likable, but man did his damn job.
He just as Steve Kerr said in The Last Dance, he would get in his own way sometimes.
Yeah. He not likable, and
I mean,
his own worst enemy. In a lot of ways.
Sums up our tenure so far with AK. I mean, the best draft pick they've had has been a second rounder, and we had a top 5 pick under this regime.
Yeah.
Next year's the year, man. I'm telling you, next year it's he's really he's really going to find his sea legs. Yeah.
Let's move on to some entertainment here. What's going on with the 2020 the 2019 draft, the 2020 draft, 2019 draft, 2019 with Zion and Ja Morant.
Man,
what's going on with those two guys, man?
I said when that draft happened, of the two, if the Bulls were able to move into that spot, I wanted Ja over Zion. I really did. I can't imagine Ja trying to do his, I want to be a thug here in Chicago. that might have ended up with a lot of cacophonous shootings and what have you.
What's on his mind, man?
Dude, I think he played too many games of what's that video game? No.
Grand Theft Auto.
I think he it's a dude. He's out there waving a little gun. I still can't get the image out of my head. Little baby gun. Like that's all still like, come on, man, stop. You ain't about that life, dude.
You done signed a $200 million deal. Go be cool. Just chill. Stay off Instagram. That is not hard.
Get better friends.
Get better friends, yes.
That don't let you mess up everybody's money.
Man, I'm gonna be real. I think he's the friend. I think he's the problem.
Well, I think
his friends need to get a better friend. And I know he the one with the money.
Find a better person to hang on to.
Because man, it was frustrating watching the commentary on the video. Like the friend was recording all alone, Ja all in the video. Ja decided to pull a gun out. And the friend dropped the phone. Like,
right, what are you doing?
Like, that told me that friend was trying to protect him. This fool is being the problem.
So the friend was like, yo, you messing up our money. You messing up our money. They need to find a better basketball player to hang on to.
That's the problem, man.
I'm shocked, man. Adam Silver's better than me, man, because 25 games I think is a little light.
Really?
Very, very lenient. Yeah.
So I say it's the only reason I say it's light because of the bull crap they did last season. Made him go to the therapy for like a day and talking about he was good.
And do an interview with Jalen Rose. That'll do it.
Man.
Okay. Now at that point, you know what I'm saying? You do that, right? You give him the 8 games and he goes to get the therapy and he does the interview. Okay. That should be it. Everything should be
to the therapy for all of
you do it again.
Days.
You do it again. Now you made me look like an idiot, right? I'm talking about Adam Silver.
Adam Silver.
You done made me look like an idiot now. So for that, I'm giving you the book, man. I'm at least half a season. At least.
This is on par with Adam Silver. Man, he's the softest commissioner.
Let that happen to David Stern.
Oh man, if that was David
Stern would have gave him 2 years.
If that was David Stern, Oh my God.
Man, he's lucky David Stern is
We'll
not
be
alive.
talking about how David Stern bogus. He went overboard.
Right. The Players Association has an issue with David Stern.
Oh man. I just man, don't mess up that money. And then Zion. I mean,
eat your way out the league. We've seen it before.
The stuff that off the court stuff. Yeah.
I'm just gonna say, find a better quality. That's all I'm gonna say. Find a better quality. She ain't even that hot. Let's be real. All right, you're gonna get your star. Wow. Go get your star. That's all I'm saying. I don't know about you guys.
Well, but if you're Zion, that may be a step up for you. I don't know.
No, oh man. And then she airing all your personal business out there, man. Come on, man. You got to handle your personal stuff better than that, man.
When you get that kind of money and that kind of notoriety, how you get hung up on a person when you're that young, I will never understand. I just won't. I just can't. It doesn't make any sense to me. But you ain't even got to look like nothing. You know what I'm saying? You're an NBA star. You're an NBA person of note, and you're a multimillionaire. That's just, and I'm going off topic here a little bit, but same thing with Deshaun Watson. Like, dude, I don't understand. Yeah, you've got millions. Why are you going to massages and becoming a little perv and talking about can you shake my ding-a-ling? Oh, here,
some ain't mentally right, man.
Yeah, I guess that's what it is. I'm not trying to equate Zion to Deshaun. I'm just saying in terms of
Zion just made a poor choice. That's all. And
that happens.
Who he's dealing with. That's all that is.
I'm like, well, you don't even have to. Why even make a choice?
And I get why he made the choice, but come on, man, do better.
Well, explain to me why you say you get why he made the choice. Explain to me why you think you get it.
You seen her, right?
No, I haven't.
Go see her. Go look up Mariah Mills, and then you'll see, and you'll say, okay,
she's got a body. That you're telling me.
Well, I mean, if you're into that,
it's an adult film.
Yeah, if you're into that type of thing.
So,
yeah, but I mean, again, like that should just do. Like, I'm not saying she's a dime a dozen, but it's like, dude,
she kind of is. No. I mean,
there you go.
I don't believe that. I don't. I kind of with you, like, you can get somebody.
You can find something else.
Yeah.
It's funny that Zion gets caught up in this situation or whatever, but Jimmy Garoppolo somehow, everyone knows, he's being teased porn star Jimmy, but it's the thing is somehow, it comes out better.
Well, because the porn star wasn't on social media,
right?
Trash,
airing out his stuff.
That's what made it.
Yeah,
she was on social media. I mean, going berserk, like trashing the man, like. So that's what made it a story. Like it wouldn't have been anything had she, if she didn't say anything or
I think
she just said
Jimmy was just a photo. That's it.
Yeah.
It was a photo, and
this woman was going like Zion proposed to her or something, man, and she was going pretty hard.
So you just got to be careful next time, Zion.
Yeah.
Just be a little more careful.
NDAs, man, NDAs. You gotta get the NDAs, man.
Fruit baskets. Fruit baskets.
That's the man. You know what? He's the GOAT for a reason.
All about the fruit baskets, baby.
Number 2.
All about the fruit baskets.
GOAT for the reason. Hey, this is our episode 100
Yeah, we talking about porn stars.
That's where this podcast goes sometimes. Episode 100, man. It's been a blast doing this. We started off in 2020 during the pandemic, and it's just, man, I enjoy getting on with you guys and chopping it up, talking about sports, and it's been, man, it's just crazy to believe it's been 100 episodes.
Yeah.
But yeah, just looking back on, I think we've grown a lot since we started, and here's to another 1, 2, 300 more episodes here on the Easy Smoke and the GM podcast, man. But it's been real, fellas.
We think about it, like the three of us. I mean, I knew Ez because we worked together, but I collectively, I don't believe we didn't know Brandon, but from the moment we started, if anyone listened to, for those they would never have known that we didn't know each other.
Exactly.
I've enjoyed the fact that although we're very agreeable with one another, we don't always agree with one another. And it's cool because we still listen to everyone, points of view, and we're not necessarily trying to convince one another, to convince you to agree with what I'm saying. We just present our points, and then, I like how we listen to each other, and then we go, okay, I see that, but then this, so it's a way to challenge one another respectfully, without challenging one another. It's just like, okay, perspective, and I enjoy the perspective that we all come with, because it's different, and it's cool, and it's like, man, okay, like, man, dude, I didn't even see it that way, like, okay. And so that's been fun. We've had our rants. We've had the people, our classic players that we do or don't like for XYZ reasons. And no matter what anyone says, they ain't gonna get us off that, like, nope, sorry. You know how I feel about dude, or how I feel about dudette. I've enjoyed the guests we've been able to have. That's been fun. We don't always, it's pretty much just the three of us, but when we get our guests, man, again, you would think that we've known each other forever, and it's not the case. Some of our guests we may have some connectivity to, but they haven't spoken to us as a collective. And not only that, but they've all wanted to come back, and some have. So I think that's been cool. So yeah, man, it's been a learning process. It's been an enjoyable journey. It's been something to look forward to each week. I saying summer, where we do this once a month. But that's cool. It's cool because I like the fact that that's the other thing too. Like we never had a plan about necessarily how we're going to do this, but it's so fluid, and we've learned that to adjust and flow with it, and that's the cool thing, man. It's that Bruce Lee mantra. Our podcast is like water. It just takes the shape of whatever it takes the shape of, and we keep it going. But I like the fact that even though we do one a month during the summer, it lets us recharge, so we can have that drive pretty much from late August into April, from A to A. So yeah, man, a long way to say I enjoy what we do. I enjoy working with each other, and I look forward to doing so many more of these, man.
Man, definitely 100 episodes, like you say, Glenn. Coming in, my uncle mentioned it to me. See me talking a lot of stuff on social media with sports, and it finally, my thoughts were finally able to come to light in this podcast. And, right. Like you said, like, you guys didn't know me. And like from day one, everything flowed together. Mm-hmm. Like, it was like we had been doing this, and people would have thought we've known each other forever.
Right.
And it's just like, no, it's just three men with honestly some points that we agree on, but some points we don't. But we have a respect for it. It was a respect from day one, and we're able to flow off each other whether we agree or disagree. And that's And that's what makes this so special in my eyes, man. Like you said, the guests we've had come on, like a lot of them honestly was connects through NBC Sports. But like to see that those type of guys like a Kendall Gill, Ozzie Guillen, and think like listen to our show, and it's like that make you feel good, and
Right.
it really make me feel good when I get like some of my guys I grew up with, and be like, man, I ain't put out an episode last week. Like, what's going on? It's like, man, like, damn, we really holding on. Like, y'all really holding on to us, and man, this has been a great 100 episode. Like, each one, sometimes we come out, we get going late, but once we get going, it's like, as a tell us, we gotta keep it short tonight.
Right.
That never works.
Never works.
Once we get going, we get going. And Glenn gonna give us. Don't let it be a night. Glenn about to give us a rant because we gonna be on here for a while. But man, it's been amazing. Like I say, I definitely feel the growth, in all of us, definitely in myself. I can remember day one when I was telling y'all, man, I don't really do the research when it comes to football and all this stuff. And now, like, that's all I'm doing,
Yeah.
So like I'm in it deep. Like I'm like making sure I gotta be on it, gotta be on it. But man, it's been amazing, man. And I truly look forward to when we get on and we talk. Like I say, yeah, the summertime be a little rough, but I'm always eager for football season because we on regularly then, So, man, to another, like you said, 300-400 more of these.
That's
man.
right. Let's
keep it going.
That's right. Truth be told, we started this podcast network, and Rob Griggs from the Super Duper podcast, he said, we got to have a sports podcast. And truth be told, I didn't want to do it. Just because I hate my voice. I'll be real with you guys. And I was like, I don't think I can do this. But he said, you got to do it. And they kept egging me on. Finally, I said, okay, if I do this though, I got to have one. There's one partner I got to have. And that was Glenn. And I went to Glenn, and Glenn, was eager to do it, and he agreed to it. And then Rob came and said, hey, I got one more for you. He said, I got a guy. He's really good. He's highly opinionated when it comes to sports topics. And I was like, okay, man. And Brandon came on, man. We talked, and he told me you told me the Babe Ruth myth. Which by Brandon believes that Babe Ruth is a myth. He said, I said, yes, this is our guy right here. He has to be on the show. So I want to thank both of you guys, man. You guys have made it so easy for me to do this. Like I said, I look forward every time we do an episode, because man, we get to talk about things that we have a passion for, and yeah, I wouldn't give this up for the world. So thank you guys very much for taking your time to do this. We greatly appreciate it. So
if I can real quick, it's funny, as much as we didn't know one another, as we grew to learn about each other, we realized how much more there are things in commonality. Both you guys, HBCU guys, which was cool to find out. Both of you guys, play collegiate sports, which was cool to find out. We're all three Southside guys, so there's that connectivity. And although we're three different generations, I think that adds a different perspective. That was kind of cool.
That's probably the big thing that makes a lot of this.
We all get each other's humor, which I think is cool. And I just, it's just interesting. And, you're saying that, I was just bringing that stuff to mind. And it's like, real quick, Ez was first, you were trying to figure out the name for the show. And I remember I was like, all right, I think I got it, Ez. All right, Easy and the GM, just the letters and stuff. And then Ez was like, well, hey, it's this third guy we have. And, we'll get, I said, all right, so what's his name? It's like, his name's Brandon. I'm like, okay. And I said, well, does he have like a nickname or does he have does he go by something? He wants to go by the coach. I'm like, you're a coach, but everybody's like a coach. He got something else. So we called him Smoke. I was like, perfect. We called him Smoke. All right. And so, and dude, I was thinking in my head, I'm like, Easy Smoke. I was like, dude, we got to go. I said, I in my mind, I was hoping Ez would like it. I'm like, all right, dude, what do you think about Easy, Smoke, and the G? And Ez was like, yeah. Yeah. I like it, and that was so cool. And as the whole process of getting the logo and having somebody do the logo and design it, all that stuff, having merch, man. So that stuff was cool too, man. I really like, that aspect of, again, just something else to unify and bring it together. So I just want to say that. And the last thing, I just want to thank everyone who has been listening and still continues to listen. I'm gonna throw a shout out to Teresa Thompson from Mrs. Thompson from Chris's wife from the bowling alley. She's been one of our ardent fans as well. Just recently, like Brandon was saying, she was like, so what's the problem? When y'all gonna put out another episode? So this is where I throw a shout out to all our fans and the people who supported us, friends, family, and otherwise. Thank you very much for making the first 100 enjoyable. And again, looking forward to so many more episodes after this.
Yes,
that's right. So let's wrap it up there. That'll do it for this week's edition of the Easy Smoke and the GM podcast. Glenn already thanked all of our listeners. We greatly appreciate you. Also, let's thank Rob Griggs, Marshall Givens, Darren Sluter, all the guys at HP53productions.com. Thank you for nudging us on to start this. And hey, we're 100 in. So thank you very much. You can catch our podcast on everywhere: Apple, Spotify, Google, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, wherever you find your favorite podcast. And also check out our website, HP53productions.com. And you can catch the Super Duper podcast there. You can catch the Father Good podcast there. And yeah, that's it. Yo, Glenn.
Yeah.
Please take us out.
Hey, it's like we've been saying all along. We're not saying we're right, but after 100 episodes, we ain't wrong.
We'll see you later this summer.